Welcome to Evergreen Speedway's Home Track Heroes on CW11.
Well, a very pleasant good evening and welcome to Home Track Heroes on the CW11. From Evergreen Speedway, my name is Caleb Hart. Greg Pyland joining me tonight. And Greg, we got an awesome card. The season's starting to get very, very narrow in terms of the time that we got left. Championships will be decided tonight here on Home Track Heroes.
Yeah, and it was such a beautiful day, too. It's nice to have some good weather out there for championship night number 2, and a lot of very close races that we're going to be bringing to everybody later tonight. But those points towards the end of the season obviously matter a heck of a lot, and so we'll see some of these races here leading down to the final points to see who wins the 2021 championship.
We will keep you abreast of points as the night goes on, both what they're coming in with and who our champions are going to be, as we've got a whole bunch of divisions worth of actions. As usual, we're going to show off multiple different courses and multiple different kinds of cars, stock cars, figure eights, sprint cars. That's all on the card tonight.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's going to be a great night of racing. First off, we're going to start with our Interstate Battery Hornets. So going down to the starting lineup here.
All right. Cars are on the track. You see the Evergreen Speedway pace car getting ready to fire off, and should be a lot of fun as they're going to go on the road course here to determine their season champion. Taking a look at the point standings going into this, the man in charge coming into the night is Peyton Hopp. Hopp with Trent Gillespie right on his heels. Those will be the two cars that we're watching as let's set your lineup for the A main event. Front row for the Interstate Battery Hornets A main event. It's the 163 of Annika Duncan, sponsored by her parents. Next to her, it's Lucas Hausenfluck in the 03.
Brought to you by Dangerous Curves Photography, the 38 of Kenny Spear, and sponsored by Rengen Earthworks, the 14 of Austin Kramer.
Third row, 77 Christian Miller. Next to him, a very familiar orange number 30. That is Pat Folger.
Then we have the 4R Gabriel Govera, sponsored by the Loft Coffee Bar, and the 81 of Bobby Fischer, sponsored by Shelton Finishing.
Fifth row, Matt Snyder's 15, Twin Peaks Pub, his sponsor. And next to him, the 07Z, that's Zach Bristol, sponsored by PMS Power Decals.
Sponsored by Reardon's Dodge Chrysler Jeep Ram of Monroe, the 43 of Damon Claiborne, and sponsored by Papa's Tavern, the 16 of Peyton Hopp.
49 of Calvin Miller, and the 00 of Dan Miller in the row behind them, his sponsor, Exterior Wall Systems, Inc., the 00.
We have the 68 of Blaine Manning, sponsored by Exterior Wall Systems, and the 025 of Trent Gillespie, sponsored by Burger Madness.
Michael Blair in car number 44, Garrett Kramer in the 88, sponsored by Rangan Earthworks, and then the 5 of Eric Kelly brings up tail end Charlie here on this field. They're going to go 30 times around in the road course where we've traditionally seen the Hornets all year long here on Home Track Heroes. And again, watch for the 16 of Peyton Hopp. Hopp is the points leader coming in after the heat races. He's got a 6-point edge on Trent Gillespie in the 25, who has been hard charging up the back of the field all year long. As you get the drone shot to start us off, the green flag is out.
And it's been such a tight division all season long. You mentioned, Caleb, the tight point standings we have between the 16 of Peyton Hopp and the 025 of Trent Gillespie. There's 5 cars within 50 points of the lead. And so coming into tonight and all season long, it's been such a tight division, and it's been really exciting to watch what this division turned into this evening.
Pretty incredible the way they all fanned out there in the back straightaway. And shout out to our drone operators, Moonman FPV and Mike Rose FPV, as lap number 1 is in the books. And Hausenfluck's got the early lead, but he's got a lot of boys on his tail as we've got chaos already off of the turn through the middle.
Yeah, there goes Kenny Spear just off into the dirt a little bit, as does Christian Miller in the 77. We saw the 14 of Austin Kramer get through there, no issues. And there goes Peyton Hopp getting right into the side of Kenny Spear. Peyton Hopp looking for the championship this season as they go on by through down the front stretch.
Hopp right on the tail of the 07 of Zach Bristol. And we've got a car around. That's Christian Miller coming off the 4th corner of the 3/8. So Miller around as you get a look back up at Hausenfluck in the lead. I wonder what happened there to Miller. I'm sure we'll find out here in a matter of mere seconds. So just 2 laps in, and already they're beating, banging, and racing like it's their final night of the year.
All sides of the course, too, here as we see Hausenfluck coming through the start-finish line again for another lap down, 27 laps to go. Annika Duncan in that 2nd spot, and there's Pat Folger, and then Bobby Fischer in that newly nicely painted vehicle Bobby just picked up in the 81.
Well, we're getting word from the officiating staff. That is Trent Gillespie, your 2nd in points, who got a black flag for getting into Miller. So Gillespie's championship chase taking a massive ding right there early on in this race.
And, Gillespie didn't help himself earlier on in the night either, getting a black flag during the heat race, hurts with the point standings, and then coming into this main event, too. It's an issue here as we see that first black flag in our main event, right? Like you said, just a few points behind Peyton Hopp for the championship.
Yeah, that one's going to be a killer for him as you're getting a look. There's Bristol once again, kind of the Halvoline style paint job of that car a little ways back, but back out to the front, and the youngster, Hausenfluck, with a couple of car lengths, at least 5 or 6 of them worth of advantage over Duncan and Folger as we're already 5 laps into this main event.
And at this point, too, the person to watch, like you said earlier, too, Caleb, the 16 of Peyton Hopp, currently in that 8th spot, just trying to hang on at this point, knowing that Gillespie got that black flag. And so if Peyton's able to hold on, it's going to look like a nice 2021 championship, but we'll see what the 16 car does.
The third-place driver in points was Christian Miller, the car that you saw getting run into by Gillespie. Well, you didn't see it, but we told you about it. So Miller already far back in the field with a lot of distance to make up himself. So again, we'll keep track of the points. We'll keep track of your race leader who continues to stretch his advantage. There's Bobby Fischer. Fischer debuting a new car tonight here on Home Track Heroes. Got a chance to talk with Bobby a little bit. Said new car was built. We were going to bring it out in 2022, but may as well shake a little of the cobwebs out of it, make sure everything's functioning before that gets started. So brought it out here tonight. He's already up into second. Going to try to chase down Lucas.
And here we see a good battle for third. Pat Folger on the low side, Annika Duncan on the high side as they come into turn number 3. Duncan's had a great season all year long as well in the 163. We see Pat Folger just getting the slight advantage coming down the front stretch.
We've seen Pat race strong and make a lot of good moves here. Hasn't had a whole lot of luck yet here in the Hornet division. There's Bristol sneaking up and by as Duncan shuffling backwards. Also the 14 Austin Kramer up there working hard as you got some tire smoke as they get onto the back straightaway.
Yeah, just there, the 15 of Matt Snyder got spun around there in that modified turn number 2 for the road course. And fortunately, a lot of the cars in that top 7 were able to get by unscathed, but Matt Snyder gets turned around sideways. And now you see here holding off the 00 of Dan Miller and the 68 of Blaine Manning.
Both of those drivers right up, working in through the weight exchange portion of the racetrack as we got a car spun out on the inside. It's Eric Kelly stopped, taking a look at the green grass. Meanwhile, here's Fischer rolling in on the back of Hausenfluck. They're down to just a couple of car lengths. As you can see, Kelly still stuck there in the green grass. And right now, we're actually going to go to a replay here. We're going to get a look at what happened between Miller and Trent Gillespie. This is on board with Gillespie as you're going to watch the chaos unfold in front of him.
Yeah, and you see Gillespie here coming in. There goes Christian Miller just getting a little bit loose now right in front of the 025 Trent Gillespie. Gillespie gives him a bump, throws him in turn number 4, just spins him around, and that's going to be a reason to get a black flag and lose a couple of laps there and ultimately a lot of points.
Yeah, you can get into the guy. You can use the front bumper, but you need to give him a chance to save himself. And from what you saw there, didn't lift, drove right through, and that's the cause for the black. Here's another look at it from Miller's perspective. Back on the hammer and around with some help.
And, just so unfortunate, Caleb, this was so early on in the race, too. Like you said, we had 30 laps, and this was, I think, on lap 2 or 3, and it's just so unfortunate to see there for Trent Gillespie, who, going into this race, was, I think, at that point, 4 points behind Peyton Hopp for the championship.
It was tight, and this really gives Hopp a big leg up. You can see Hopp on the raceway. He's starting on the inside of the 4th row. That's the black and yellow number 16 car. As 2x2 here on the restart with 9 laps in, 21 laps to go for the Interstate Battery Hornets division in their A main event here on Interstate Batteries Night at the racetrack.
So we'll see on this restart if the 81 of Bobby Fischer is able to keep on making some progress on the 03 of Lucas Hausenfluck as we're under green once again, and Hausenfluck going to be on the inside as they come into this modified turn 2. And there's a big stack up there, 3 wide as they go into turn number 2. Peyton Hopp, luckily they're on the low side, able to get on through, no issues. But now we see the battle here, 3 wide again at the front as you see the 07 of Zach Bristol on the low side, and now able to pass by the 03 of Lucas Hausenfluck as they come out of turn number 4. Fischer and Bristol side by side as they cross the start-finish line.
They made a Hausenfluck sandwich as they came in through the corners there, and it's Bristol who gets the advantage. He really leaned on Fischer coming off the 4th turn of the 3/8, and Zach Bristol's got the lead. Fischer, new car, trying to make it work in the outside groove as they'll hustle into 3, and he's got a good run going into that corner.
And maybe something a little up with the 03 of Lucas Hassenfleck as we see Damon Claiborne in the 43 just passing on by as we go back to Matt Snyder, and there's Austin Kramer in the 14 coming out of turn number 4. Kenny Spear, another great driver in this Hornet division, has been charging hard all season long. We've seen on the Angel of the Winds podium quite a few times this season as well. The 38 car having some issues there, turning a little wide, but great season overall for the 38.
Greg, these drivers are racing like they've got an entire offseason coming up to repair their race cars. It's been physical out there, more physical than usual in terms of leaning on the guy coming off the corner, the guy or girl, I should say, as here comes Fisher diving in hard on Bristol. This division's used to a little bumping and banging, but man, there have been some cars seriously sideways and putting some paint on their competitors as there's Fisher with a run down on the inside, down the back straightaway.
And just as you say that too, Caleb, we saw that huge bumper that we saw right there in the dirt. And so definitely racing aggressive tonight as we see the battle still back and forth between Fisher and Bristol as they come out of turn number 4 across the start-finish line once again side by side. So great battle here for that first spot.
Transponder loop had Bristol still in the lead, and he's got the advantage as they make the weavy wave down onto the back straightaway. But Fisher right they're all over him, giving him everything he can handle out in front of this field. And third and fourth rolling in. Here comes Damon Claiborne, who we talked about. Claiborne's got a lot of success here at Evergreen Speedway on the year, and he's thinking podium finish.
Absolutely, yeah. And right behind, you see the 68 of Blaine Manning, who's right up there. Now we see a little bump there by Claiborne going into the 81 of Fisher as they come into that turn. And there goes Fisher. So the 07 of Zach Bristol slowing down considerably. Fisher goes by, Claiborne goes by, and now Blaine Manning goes by in the 68.
Yeah, one corner drops 3 spots. Bad news for Bristol there is he's off the podium now. Give the lead back to Fisher at the halfway point. This is a position he's been in a few times at the halfway point and trying to stretch out a lead. Fisher, Claiborne, Bristol had snuck back into third for a second, but we can see it's now Manning. Let's go back to the field, and there's Trent Gillespie again.
And Gillespie getting into the 00 of Dan Miller. So right there as they came through the front stretch into that maybe slight turn to the right, you see the 025 of Trent Gillespie getting into Dan Miller in the 00. And so we'll see if there's any ramifications for this for Trent Gillespie. We saw it earlier on in this main event.
Yeah, considering that he already had a problem in the heat race, and at the start of the main event, he may not get a whole lot of forgiveness here as Miller trying to hold on the inside. Gillespie all over the rear bumper cover of him, and the 14 of Austin Kramer trying to get involved as well as you're watching them spread out down the back straightaway.
And you know, Gillespie had to be very aggressive, started towards the back of this pack, as you saw Peyton Hopp was towards the front, and so had to be very aggressive to try and work up there and still try and steal one of these points championships away. But Gillespie just not doing it in the right way, and we saw the earlier black flag and then getting into the 00 of Dan Miller as well.
Well, as you see the drone shot following Bobby Fischer, we'll be back for the conclusion of this very entertaining Interstate Battery Hornet A main event right after this on the CW11.